Now that we are well into a new school year here at Chandler Gilbert Community College, it is a great time to start focusing on our planning activities for the future and how we're going to align our needs and our great ideas with our budgetary resources to get the most that we can for our students. Now, broadly speaking, all of these conversations about planning and budgeting really have two major premises. And the first is to give department managers both a clear understanding of the resources that they have to do the business of their department, as well as a clear understanding of what the department's priorities and strategies are for a given year. College administration similarly wants to be able to take a step back and manage budget and strategies in a big picture, holistic way and to create space for thinking through what our future priorities will be and to come up with ways to achieve our outcomes and get the resources that we need in order to advance the college. Now, that conversation about priorities and strategy and direction starts with the college's strategic plan. And that includes the mission, the vision, value statements, and institutional goals, things that the college develops usually for 5 years at a time and really sets the bar and sets the general direction for what the major priorities of the college are, or what they are, and some of the major planks of how we're going to get there. Now, with the college's strategic plan as a guide, the college then develops additional levels of planning that speak to each of the major functional areas of the college. This includes infrastructural things like facilities and technology. It involves operational things like the enrollment planning activities and fundraising plans. And it also includes the educational master plan, which summarizes the major educational programs and methods of delivery that we intend to use at the college. Now, the important thing to think through at this point in the planning process is that all of these plans, while they are discrete and are strategic in their own right, they also communicate with each other and learn from each other in the sense that one would not be that impactful without an understanding of what's going on in the other. So, as a great example, a facilities master plan speaks to the direction that the college is going in terms of developing and maintaining its physical infrastructure. However, it wouldn't be a particularly good plan if it didn't have a clear understanding of the educational programs and the educational delivery methods that the college planned through an educational master plan in order to inform the types of spaces that the college was building and maintaining. So, beyond this foundation of planning at the college level, individual departments are asked to look at those broad strategies and planning priorities and institutional goals and to develop plans for the year that include the direction that the department is going and some good opportunities for future advancement. Now, that conversation should be informed by ongoing assessment and program review activities that look at operational outcomes and learning outcomes and really lend themselves to thinking through how a department or program might improve its outcomes in the future. Now, with that understanding of improving outcomes and current priorities, we then use those annual operational plans at the college level to inform our discussions around college level budget priorities. Now, an important takeaway from this piece of the conversation is that the budget is neither at the top nor the center of this conversation. The budget is an expression of the college's priorities that comes from a strong planning process that focuses on the strategic objectives of the college. Now, simplified down, all of our programs engage in some form of program review and assessment on an ongoing basis. And those insights should help us to fuel good ideas in our operational plans, good strategic directions for our departments year to year, and those directions will then help inform college level budget planning. Now, so when we talk about the operational plan, what does that mean? Well, each year the process evolves a little bit, and this year is no different. So we are trying to simplify and go back to basics a little bit as it relates to departmental planning. The three major things that we're talking about in the plan is to ask each department to address the planning context, the environment in which their department is operating, the area in which their program is being offered, what's going on that impacts how students are learning or how business is done. The department initiative section is allowing the department to lay out a platform of what its major ongoing projects and priorities are, or what its proposed next efforts are for the department to continue to move forward within current resources in the current environment. This is not a place to lay out all of the new program enhancement opportunities. It is a place to talk about what the department's going to do regardless. The last piece would then be to put forward proposals for potential enhancement or repositioning of programs, really focusing in on potential resource needs and how those changes are supported by data as necessary and would create positive outcomes for students or stakeholders. So the operational planning process, similar to other years, starts in the fall and begins really at a department level and engaging in any stakeholders that you can. That conversation should escalate to include vice presidents and department management in the late fall and winter months, with the goal of having vice presidents sign off on the department proposals by the end of the fall semester, so that when we return in the winter for the spring term, that the College Budget Advisory Council can take up those recommended budget and planning packages and start reviewing them for the college's internal budget conversations. And the budget committee then makes a recommendation to the college president for a final set of budget changes for the next year. Now, as we just covered, there's a number of moving pieces that are all going on at one time. We have ongoing assessment and program review that talks about how we can learn from our experience. We have operational plans that help us to distill that down into particular strategies. We have a budget process that helps the college to set priorities and redistribute its resources in order to support the best opportunities for improvement. But while that's all happening, we also have parallel district budget processes where the colleges are asked to propose their highest and broadest priorities to a district conversation for consideration in terms of future budgets and other opportunities for the district to set its direction. The important piece of this is that these processes are happening year in and year out in cycle. So while there are different cycles for each one of them, and it seems like there's a lot of information gathering at any point in time, that conversation will continue and each step will continue to inform the next in order to keep everybody engaged in the planning conversation, caught up with what Chandler Gilbert's particular needs and directions are right now. So summarizing this up and to the basic steps of what each department is going to be looked at to provide this year. So first of all, we are adding a new layer that will be explained separately over email to the conversation, and that is for each department to develop a budget summary that provides a greater level of detail of the planned uses of funds for the year across all of the fund sources. So this is extra important because of some really big changes that have happened with special academic funding and course fees this last year. So we need a greater level of detail in order to maximize our ability to get the equipment that we need in our classrooms and make sure that we are doing an appropriate job of setting course fees within new regulations that we have. In addition to that effort, we will continue to have our operational planning cycle where the departments will be asked, as we just discussed, to talk about strategies for the next year and proposals for programmatic change. In addition to that, we will also continue to have an ongoing one-year funding resource request process where things emerge during the year and the college needs to respond in order to solve the problem or take advantage of an opportunity. And lastly, we will continue to have facility proposal processes to our facility planning committee because we recognize that all of these things that we talk about do have the potential of requiring facility related adjustments, and the facilities planning committee is the place where those conversations happen, where those needs are tracked, and where the college's inventory of space gets prioritized for our emergent needs. So what comes next for us? Very specifically, we're looking to departments to be focusing on October 25th as the date that these budget detail forms are going to be due in order for us to navigate this next round of equipment requests. And also December 20th, which is the end of the last week of the fall semester, for vice presidents to have reviewed and approved operational plans from each of the departments in their areas. At a college-wide level, I will also note that November 15th is the date that the college is required to submit its broad budget proposals to the district office for the district-wide budget conversation in the spring. Uh, the college leadership is continuing to work on those proposals now based on all of the feedback that has been collected in previous years of strategic planning, as well as things that are emerging right now that we're working on. And we'll be sure to share the details of that package once we've pulled it together. So lastly, as additional communication come forward and the process continues to unfold for this year, please do not hesitate to reach out to the research and planning team or the business services department for feedback, guidance, or any other explanations that you might need in order to research your department's finances and plan for its future. Thank you.